Yeah, well, thanks. And thanks a lot, Luis, for this opportunity that we are all here to join from every part of the world, I guess. I mean, at least from the three of us, that from America, South America, Sri Lanka, and I'm based in Switzerland, in Geneva. I've lived in India as well. I've been living also in different parts of Switzerland. So it's very interesting because it's a small country, but very multicultural with a different kind of mindset or culture of, yeah. So from this experience, I had to grow, to learn new code, to learn new culture, and all what I could see, and that was not always easy. It was kind of challenging, but from all of that, I could see different kind of emotional intelligence, how we use it, how are the codes in different kind of culture, and that's very interesting. For the last 10 years, I've been studying and working on emotional intelligence specifically, and I've created also training on these skills to develop them, to reference them at work especially, but of course we can extend that to our private life because everything is related to each other's. And I'm also working on different kind of other skills that are close linked to emotional intelligence or resilience. We've talked a lot about resilience for the last 2 years because of COVID, with mindfulness, communication and so on. So yeah, mainly that's what I'm doing. I'm also a dancer, and in this dance, I'm a Kathak dancer, which is a Indian dance, and we use a lot of our emotional expression, so our face, our gesture, and all these tools, if I can say that like this, I can use it in my work also for this training. So your voice, how you use your body language and so on to work on your emotional, non-verbal aspects. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tamara, and thanks so much for accepting this invitation to be with us today. So, as I said earlier, for all participants, as you're listening to what every one of the panelists is working on, if there is something of interest, either feel free to go ahead and ask them here, or reach out to them. You have some clapping here from Stephanie, Tamara. Okay, so why don't we move here to Dana? Dana, tell us about yourself, what you're working on, anything that is going on in your mind, in your world, in your life.
Thank you, Luis, and thank you everybody for being here. Well, I live in Chile now, but I'm from Venezuela. I've been here for 8 years now. And well, I came here single and without babies, and now I am divorced and I have 2 babies. That's one part of my personal side. And on the other side, I'm a psychologist, and now I'm working in DHL, and I work as a manager in talent management. Okay, so what I look for every day of my life is that everybody, at least here, can reach his best version. I always say, like joking, that everybody is in a beta mode, and we have to develop our best version possible. So that's my job. It's amazing because I love it. I love to go through people processes and to try to work on their best version possible. So this is my day by day.
Thank you, Dana. That's a great perspective. I love it. We're all in beta mode. We'll come back to that thought. So write it down for all of you, and we'll come back to that. And then Azeem, welcome, Azeem.
All right. Thank you, Luis. Thank you very much for having me on this particular episode. It is a great pleasure and honor to have to be, and two lovely ladies on the panel as well. So my name is Azeem. I'm from Sri Lanka. I go as a human capital specialist. I've been in the industry for last 15 plus years. I've been living in Middle East for some time now, back in my own country. Yes, I am a Geno's emotional intelligence. That's my forte, because I always believe emotional intelligence is the key foundation for us to really thrive, resilience, whatever you name it, because if we can really understand our emotions, recognize it, and really manage it, and how do you really associate with another person can really, really develop us to being who we want to be. So that's why I really wanted to bring that particular line into that. At the same time, I'm an ICF certified coach. So I'm specialized in EQ in terms of coaching leaders in the organization. That's what I clearly work on. I'm a person who like to have a lot of fun, because fun is something we always in the adult life we always miss, right? Because when we are in the childhood, we have a lot of fun, we take a lot of risk, we enjoy the moment, but with the whole responsibility, commitment, slowly we lose it out. The whole methodology of me inspiring people to understand, so self-discover them, is what I use is the fun element. So with that, I use Lego as part of my people intervention development programs. Lego is of course a toy, but it has a science behind it for everyone's purpose, because it does give a lot of input, insight. We always say thinking from hand. So I use Lego because it's really fun. People love to play it. And at the same time, I host my own podcast called EI Cafe with Azeem. The whole purpose is to bring the awareness to the whole global, especially, my part of the world, it's very less awareness about emotional intelligence. I think Tamara can vouch me. She has been in India as well. So in that aspect, I started my podcast in a COVID lockdown. We don't have any business, didn't know what to do. So I thought of spreading the message of emotional intelligence. So far I've done about 5 seasons. I'm on the 61 episode. One of the episode was Luis. We talk about diversity and inclusion, which is one of the important topic. So the whole idea is for me to let people upskill free of charge. Why you need to pay for develop is one of my key objectives. So with that line, I really spread across. And I always believe inspiring people to live a meaningful life and helping them to pursue their passion is something I would like to be part of it and helping. So that's what I do in terms of my professional. And I have 2 kids. One is 8-year-old daughter and the other one is a 3-year-old son. And living happily in Colombo.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Dana. Thank you, Tamara. And thank you, Azeem, for your thoughts. So we're going to get going here then on some conversations. I want to just mention a quick, you said a lot of things that are important and relevant, and I'll just want to highlight one thing that each one of you said. So I'm going to start with Dana. I love the idea we're all in beta mode, right? So for those of us that kind of are involved with the whole even in the concept of like new product development, that we start kind of with a prototype, right? So we start with something, especially now in agile, we want to get, kind of like the best product or, the best prototype that we can get out there as fast as possible. But then, we have to have the discipline to be working on it to improve it, especially with the feedback from consumers, right? Because the idea, even, when you work on a website, for example, you put the first, kind of prototype out there, and then as people are using it, we're getting the feedback, and then we have to implement and improve the website or the product or whatever it is with the feedback that we get. So I think that's a great analogy. We should apply that. So when people give us feedback about us, then we have to listen to the feedback attentively. We have to believe it, embrace it, and then make the changes so that we can be a better product. So I love that. Then I loved from you, Tamara. So we can come back to that. So anybody who had thoughts about that, we can come back to that. Then I'd love to highlight in Tamara, you talked about the idea of the, art and expression and how you can use dance, and you combine dance with the element of human elements of emotional intelligence in terms of how you use your body as a vehicle to connect with others and to, manifest and really express out into the world. So some people may not necessarily see the connection, but I think you do a great job, and I'm a follower. I've seen your work, and I think you do a great work. So, for any one of you that is involved in the art through dance, painting, music, that you can have, with the conversation here with Tamara, we can talk about how to best incorporate and make those connections with the art, and how we as professionals bring more value to the workplace. And then Zeem, I love the concept of having fun at work, and that's actually something that has come up in my work, in my research, and in my training, in that kind of in the past people didn't connect work with fun, because it was like two things, right? You either work or you have fun, but people had a hard time connecting the two things. So when you are here in the office, head down, do your thing, do the work, and that there's a cultural component to that. So in some regions of the world, like in Latin America, it's easier for people to think of work as something fun, because just personality, folks are kind of more, outgoing, and from the way that people connect is different. In some other regions of the world, kind of that are more stoic, and there's a kind of more formal culture. It is harder for people to see people having fun at work, because work is something that you need to treat with respect and serious. And I have actually worked with organizations. I know, Zeem, this is a big part of your work, but bringing this concept of we need to have fun, especially from a retention standpoint, with the new generations coming in. If they are coming to work to jobs that are boring, even when I coach leaders, I say, you can be an amazing leader, but you cannot be boring, because the new people that are coming in, they're looking for, leaders that not only have a good vision, that are strong with finance, that can sustain the organization into the future by growing with great ROI responsibly, but that are inspiring. And then when you inspire me to live a better life, a life with purpose, that also entertains me, so that I can have a life. I want to be happy. I don't only want to be productive and bring you ROI. I also want to enjoy my life and be okay, and kind of love the work that I'm doing. So just kind of 3 notes on the things that you said. So would love to, for any one of you that want to, respond to any of those, or anyone from the call. So for any one of you participants that would like to, add a thought connected to any of those points, or anything else that is in your mind, raise your hand and I'll bring you up here with the group of panelists. Okay, so right now, Azeem, Tamara, or Dana, any thoughts on any of the comments?
I'm always a bit surprised when we oppose seriousness and fun. Why is opposed? I mean, for me, it doesn't mean because we are not serious or too serious that we can't have fun. For me, it's not really an opposition. But I think a lot of people mixed and have confused these two terms. And for me, it's not at the opposite. I mean, we can be serious and have fun. No, I mean, and we need both. And that's why also I'm looking for in my manager, in leadership, that's what we need. We need someone who has clarity and who can also deliver some kind of fun is an emotion, finally. I mean, at the end of the day.
Yeah, sometimes there is a stereotype way of leading a team, that if you have fun, you are not having results, right? So organizations, sometimes the companies value the leaders that are very serious and very mad the whole day, and the ones that are having fun are the ones that are supposed not having any result for the business. No, it's interesting because it's just a belief. It's not real.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Tamara said, like serious opposed fun. Like the whole methodology of Lego is like serious play, right? The whole very serious play, right? Well, the whole seriousness is brought in by the environment in the organization, right? It's the pressure it builds up, right? Because when you are faced with the challenges, leaders pressurize the people to really go get it done into the whole, ground zero. So then the whole atmosphere changes, the environment changes. So there's a role of the leader need to really understand. And I really like the point Luis picked up, that generation, right? it's a different generation now. We are talking about millennials, Gen Z, X, Y, Z, and a lot of element comes. And it's not about 30 years ago. We didn't have this smartphone with 35 years smartphone with access to information. It's totally different. But the new generation is so informed, and as Luis said, they don't want to be bored in the organization, and they're the person who like to play PlayStations, might be gaming, different elements. Now, for example, like organizers like Google or any tech organization, they do have recreation room which full with that, because you need to put that stress out. You need to put that experience you're going through with anxiety, right? You might have certain experience coming up which will be impact your productivity and efficiency. So that's why fun is an element which can give a lot of good things for us, like our emotional state, our physical state. Right. For example, when we laugh and smile, 14 places getting massaged, increasing dopamine and endorphin chemical, and the whole wow, boom, the creativity comes in, right? So that's why I always believe.
That's for sure. Yeah.
And Tamara, I really like the part, the art, right? It's being dancing or singing, and music comes a lot in there. That's something I want to just touch on that.
Absolutely. And we have the first handout from Nadesh coming from Scotland. Nadesh, do you have some thoughts you want to add to the conversation?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to share my thought about, yes, this kind of dichotomy between work and fun, and yes, I remember when you had that question, Luis, and that you asked that question, and to me, well, I said, no, to me, job is not about having fun. But I don't mean that you shouldn't like your job, but I was saying that I'm not going to work to listen to jokes and that kind of things. So that's why I said no. To me, it's about fulfillment. It's about enjoying what you do, but I think that there's really been this differentiation, with all the field of basically professionalism. What does it mean to be professional? And it's true that in a lot of societies, being not appearing to be serious, being lighthearted and things like that, basically do not fit with the definition of being professional. And so now it changes. But I was thinking also about how that idea of fun has really impregnated a lot societies, and especially Western societies. Like I was just thinking, so I'm in the UK here, and one of the big TV channels obviously is the BBC, and I think their logo or their motto used to be to inform, to educate, to entertain. Now it's only to entertain. And it's true that when you look at the lot of programs and things like that, it seems that the main goal is to be entertained, to have fun. And so I said, well, yeah, that's great. But, how much do you mix actually the seriousness and the fun? And I think we're still at this stage that it's one or the other. I still want to look at a documentary, but, I don't care about the presenter having fun on the thing. What I care is listening to something or watching something interesting that I can learn from. And if I'm entertained, that's great. So I think finding that balance, and especially in the workplace, will be very, very important.
And then there's
just my thoughts.
And the cultural component, right? That is different. I know for my events and training, we've done surveys where we ask people what's the most important thing for them. And there are three things that come up. One is, tell me something that I don't know. So basically, from an education standpoint, teach me something, right? The second point is help me connect to somebody else that I didn't know before the training, right? So from an expanding my network, right? And then the third piece is entertain me. So actually the top three things is tell me something that I don't know, help me connect with somebody new. And then third, help me have a, I've had a tough day at work, so, help me have a laugh. Okay, good. So Dana, Tamara, Azeem, any thoughts on Nadisha's perspective? Would you like to respond?
It's interesting because I was thinking when you were talking, Nadish, that we are the same person. We are not the professional and the other side, the real life. And as Azeem said, many years ago, it was like that. Like you were two persons, two different persons, and we are not. We are the same person here, there, everywhere. So I think that if we don't have that line that divides that, it's better. It's more fluid. Everything is like it has a different pace, right?
Yeah, and actually, you make
That's
me think. Dana, that's a
Mm-hmm.
great point. Well, some of you may be familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk, and he, kind of broke the stereotype of leadership because, if you had like leaders like Steve Jobs, it was all about this tough, hierarchical, authoritarian leadership. Like, we're going to do this, and people kind of responded well to that in the past. And then, comes like the new leaders like Gary Vaynerchuk that is more about like, having fun. And, it's kind of a more relaxed, and it's the same kind of what you're saying, Dana, is like the same person. I'm the same person that I'm out with my friends on the street, in my house, and at work. I'm the same person. And then the results have been amazing, right? So we're seeing more and more leaders that are kind of this concept of, but there's a cultural component, there's a generational component as well. Okay, good. Any other thoughts, Tamara? You want to add on anything to that?
Just to come back on point what Dana said about yes, we are the same person but in different contexts, and because of the context we have to adjust ourselves to, I don't know, if I'm at work, I will behave still in a certain way that I want with my friends or with my family. And despite of that, I think there's adjustment that we have to do and yes, we need to have this, I don't know how to say that in English, but this coherence or ancrage, I don't know. I mean, this point, we are like this, but then we need to be able to be a bit, flexible and to say, okay, in this context, who I am and with whom I'm working with.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I would add to that, Tamara, is that we're seeing one of the dynamics I'm seeing out there is that more and more people wanting to have their own businesses, right, and going into entrepreneurship or working in smaller companies. And one of the experiences that people are reporting is that folks that have worked in very large corporations, like when you work in the, Fortune 500, multi-billion dollar and all that, you feel a need, or you actually feel that kind of like the people are wanting you to assimilate. So after you work for 10, 15, 20 years in a large corporation, it kind of adjusts you to be, it changes you into somebody that you may not be, because you are actually wanting to assimilate to be like the others. But when people have worked in smaller companies, either they have their own businesses, they work for small or medium-sized businesses, what they have reported is less of a need to have to assimilate, because these businesses are, some like family businesses, it's like a company of 10, there's no need to assimilate, you just got to get the work done, and that's it. So I think that more and more in the future, and this changes, there's a generational component, there's a cultural component, but in general, the new folks coming into the workplace, they'll be less interested in working for companies that are demanding them that they assimilate to be someone that they are not. They just want to be more themselves, right? So good. All right, Azeem, did you have, I saw you wanted to say something early.
No, I think with all due respect, I think as Luis, I think it's as you said, it's about culture as well. The culture matters a lot. Where you heading, we are living in. When we talk about, it's fun. It's not about, putting a party in office or something like that. It's about having that environment to be yourself, to love the organization, do that passion. When you don't love what you do, that means you will not do it properly. So the passion part, the purpose, because when you enjoy that's the amount of fun we are talking about. A little bit of a crack of a joke, very, a little bit of a sing along, have, once a month, a little bit of a gathering around. Make sure that environment is so comfortable for you, because it all connects to your emotion and to your, again, to the productivity and the whole efficiency of the organization. So this want to highlight on that.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm going to do a quick check in time. So in the next few minutes, we're going to go into breakout rooms. Something that I would like to do and offer is as folks say that they enjoy connecting with others, go ahead in the chat. If you are open to connecting with others on LinkedIn, you can go to your LinkedIn page, go to your profile, copy the web address of your profile, and you can paste it on the chat. So it would be like, I'll, as a test, I'll put mine here so that it would say, www.linkedin.com/ and then kind of like your name. So for those of you that may not know, you just go to your LinkedIn profile, copy the web address and paste it there if you are open to others connecting with you. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. All right, so let's do this. So I want to, we're going to go into breakout rooms. We have a group of 22, so we'll do about five groups of about 3 or 4. And what I like to do, I want to show you, so that we make sure we have something to talk about. I want to show you a quick video of 3 minutes. We're going to watch it together. And then when you go into the breakout room, feel free to, talk about the video. If you liked it, didn't like it, what did you hear in it that was interesting to you, relevant, not relevant. So just a few things. One is take a note, paper and pencil or pen or whatever you have, you can find, and write notes during the video so that you can kind of, write down what you thought was interesting from the video. And then when we go into the breakout rooms, if possible, please start your camera so that your other participants can see you, right? So anyone, any questions or thoughts before we go and watch this video? Any thoughts about anything that has been said so far? And to go ahead and open it up for everyone. Thoughts, comments? All right. Okay. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and play this video for all of you. All right. So we had we played a video, just an abstract thought in there. And then you guys went in a room with 1, 2, or 3 other people. So we'd love to hear now your thoughts on kind of what you saw, liked it, didn't like it, relevant, not relevant, any connections, any thoughts. Anybody that would like to add thoughts from any one of the panelists or any one of the participants? Ale, you look like
no, I was just reading an email here. Sorry.
Okay, that's all right. What do you think of? Did you get an opportunity to talk with a few folks in the group?
Yeah, it was interesting. Sasha was there. That is in Minnesota with you. Well, near you. And then we had forgot his name now.
Tariq.
Tariq, right? He's in Switzerland and in finance, and he was mentioning that people in finance in Switzerland are kind of cold, just work oriented. That part of having fun is basically non-existent. And I told him, and I asked him that if it could be a cultural thing, because me being in Spain, working at a business school, that you would imagine having students 18 all the way to 45, 50, there could be room for fun. And my answer is like, no, like our professors here are like very serious, just giving them, if it's going to be math, if it's going to be marketing, that creative part, that thinking out of the box basically is non-existent in a way. And I feel that they're preparing them to just do their role in a company and that's it. That if they land a job in any company that is more into having fun, enjoying what you're doing, they would not adapt that easily if they ever adapt in a way. Right?
And that's I want to thank you, Alejandro, and I want to actually put that perspective out there for you. So what should the role of schools be? You know, considering that now we have a flat world, right? That we're all kind of working in virtually with any country and all cultures. What happens when we are graduating students that are kind of very serious about what they do, and then they go work with other regions of the world where people want to work in a more kind of dynamic and they want to have fun? What's happening? And one of the experience that I've noticed is just to share quickly, when I am presenting, like, you know, for me, it's like I can go and present in a, you know, in a sweater and kind of be casual, because for me, it's like the content of what I'm presenting. But I have noticed how for some, depending on where I present in different parts of the world, some people are expecting that the presenter has to have a suit, right? And they are more likely to pay attention to what you're saying if you have a suit than if you have a sweater. So then I have to kind of keep that in mind. But Alejandro, you were going to say something.
No, just commenting on that, like what should they give? I think they have to now in schools or universities, you have to give them first a global approach. Show them that the world is not just where they are or the country where they're in. Again, in Spain, it's personally, I think it's kind of close-minded in a way. They don't like foreigners. And if you tell them there is a world outside of Spain, they might not believe it. You need that first, and then you need to make it fun. Okay, like I had the opportunity of teaching several subjects here, and one thing I remember CBA days back in when we were young, making classes fun. Just you were teaching English and you had to make it fun, because maybe learning a language is not that fun really, but I remember Luis, like he had songs and all these dynamics. You got students engaged and students really learn. We have friends now that they are working in English because they started learning the alphabet with us back in the day. Why? Because we got them engaged. And I think that's something important. Like schools today need to do that. Get people engaged. That is something that I feel it's missing in a way. Just as companies need to engage their employees through several things, making it fun, giving them training, sorts, no?
Thank you. Thanks so much. Any thoughts? Anybody would like to comment on thoughts from Alejandro or anybody else, or the video, or any discussion that you had?
I'm still not sure we're talking about, I mean, we're using the right vocabulary, because I have a problem with fun. I don't know, it depends how we define that. Because for me, what's important, I mean, and it's related to believe and to be convinced of what you're doing. And then you have this passion, if you can, but that's communication skills, where you have to communicate properly and in an efficient way to the others, right? And then maybe you have this passion that are related to fun.
Yeah, because, and that's an important point, Tamara, that even how people define certain words. So it is very possible that culturally, some people in some countries struggle with the notion that they may have about fun, because, you know, kind of back to what you were saying, Azeem, that fun is thought of like, you know, and I think, Dana, you touched on this as well, that fun is like being distracted. Like, you know, if you're serious about your work, then you're focused and you're not having fun. If you are having fun, it's because you lost the focus on what you were working, and all of a sudden now you are distracted, and that's why you're having fun. But something interesting I'd like to comment quick. I don't want to take too much space because I want to hear your thoughts. But I've worked in companies that the culture is to have fun, and it was very fun, and I really enjoy it. And one thought, I worked in a company where that was very selective in who they brought in. So they brought really the best talent from around the world. It's a company that have brands that, you know, a lot of talented people want to work in. So they have the luxury of bringing the best folks from the top schools from around the world. And these are folks that are very highly intellectual, and they have fun, intellectual fun. So one example of that is, for example, when you had a project, you had to name the project with a project code name. And the code name had to be something, you know, so it couldn't be like if, for example, it was a food company. And, you know, I remember once, like there was a project about flavor, a food product, that the flavor was apple. And the project name was Tell, so Project Tell. So people, it's like part of the fun was that you had to decode why the name of a project was Tell. It's because William Tell, because the apple, wow, the apple, the arrow, so the William Tell. So the fun was like using your intelligence and your intellect to try to decode all of these puzzles that were everywhere present, and people would have fun with that. There was another project that was called Toto, because the Toto was the name of the dog in the Wizard of Oz movie, where they say, hey, you know, we're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. So then the idea why the project was called Toto was because the phrase of saying, because it was an innovation project, so you had to like think innovatively about the project. That's why they name it Project Toto, and people would have a lot of fun. So here is not people being distracted and partying. This is about having fun with your mind and your brain to decode puzzles that the company would have. So anyway, other thoughts? Azeem, you seem like you want to say something there.
Yeah, just to add on, I'll give you a quick example. I think this will clarify Tamara's whole confusion, right? Yes, there are two parts of having fun. You go for a disco, you go have a party, have some drinks, and you're having a fun. That's a different element. But the fun, what we are basically, I always believe in. We in Sri Lankan context, we do have a very traditional way of doing things. Even workshops, very traditional. The PowerPoint slides and very strict. You stick here and you start listening. Now, if when I start researching, when I start looking at how much of people are taking the learning out of that particular room, it was a question mark. The same reason I'm going to tell is where I think his name is Alejandro, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Who had a conversation. Yes, he said the word engagement. When you had that particular engagement coming in, it's really easy for you to connect what you're learning. So that's why you still remember the alphabet and you were able to speak good English, because that lecturer made you engage. They made you connect. So when you do on a workshop, especially with the Legos, right? I always let them just enjoy that particular workshop, right? They build a lot of toys. They build the dogs. They get attached to it, and they tell stories. Because what we're doing with the Lego is let them put their expressions out. Is in a communication mode from their subconscious mind. They're pulling that out and start talking with people. Now let's go for the context of an organization, an element where you have a meeting. How many people do you think in an organization, a meeting will be talking? Let's say we have 10 people. Around 2 to 3 people might be talking a lot. The rest might be very low engagement. But if I use this particular element of bringing some toys, putting on, based on the meeting agenda, I start working some challenges. Let's come up with some fantastic ideas. They start building it because our fingertips are really connected to our subconscious, the cortex. So we are pulling that information out from our model. So they have enjoy that particular session, the workshop. So when they go back, they always remember, right? This I build. This is the change methodology. This is Porter's 8 methodology. This is Daniel Goleman's whole emotional intelligence framework. So it's really that's the development. Yes. That's the development. Same thing applies when you're in an organization also, right? When you are engaged with the employer, when you engage with your leader, and the leader is engaged, the communication is so easy because we tend to understand. So music can be a part of it, having a very casual conversations, not very official, because end of the day, it's all about the profitability, right? For you to have the profit, to have the profitability, you need to have the productivity, you have to have the efficiency. To do that, we has to be in a stable mindset. We should love what we do. So that's why I bring the fun, the whole idea, because it's the whole thing.
Dana, you have
absolutely,
Azeem. You want to add to that?
Yeah, I was listening to Azeem, and also having fun. It's a matter of evolution, a personal evolution, right? Because it's not only what the company gives you or what the context gives you. It's also what you do and how responsible we are. Not only to have fun, but also to be yourself, to feel free to be yourself, because when you are being yourself, you are happy, you are stable, you feel like you belong. But that's a responsibility that we have, not the context, not the environment, not the other people, not your boss. It's you and your personal evolution. So I feel that if we are able to be ourselves and to really get to know yourself and help others to know themselves also, and to try to be better every day, it's amazing. And not giving the responsibility to the company or to anything else than yourself, it's amazing. Living like that. And I feel that if you live like that, you have more occasions to have fun.
I love that perspective that, it's not my organization's responsibility to, help me, have fun, but I have to look for what, and I think the younger folks are more likely to look, to be intentional about finding places where they can have fun, right? Whereas in the past, our grandparents and parents would stay for a long time in a company where they did not have fun, but they felt that they had to stay. I think folks were seeing it from statistically more people kind of leaving their job because they're looking for places where they can find fulfillment and have something that is more meaningful from a personal standpoint. And I also want to touch base on something that you were saying, Azeem, that I think is very important and connects with what you were saying to Tamara and Dana, is that some of the research is also saying that, especially there's a cultural component and a generational component, but one of the feedback of sources of dissatisfaction is that if, so I'm at work, I work long hours, and then they say, hey, we're going to have an activity. We're going to go to the beach, or we're going to go to the lake, or we're going to go to the park, or we're going to go somewhere. We're going to go, watch a game. We're going to go see the, the baseball game. Oh, wow. I'm excited. Today after work at 5 p.m., we're going to go watch the game. Yeah. And when I go to watch the game, my bosses and leaders and my peers in the game, all they're doing is talking about work. So we are at the game. The teams are playing. I'm trying to watch the game because I like baseball, or I want to kind of have a drink or something. But my boss, for example, a leader there, all that they're doing is just kind of like talking about work, and extend. And so I'm like, okay, we might as well just go back to the office and continue working there, because why are we here at the game if we can't engage and kind of live life, right? So the same applies for like everywhere we go after 5. We cannot, or even if a meeting, if a meeting is 1 hour and the entire hour, so when you get to the meeting is, okay, right here's the agenda, here's what we're going to accomplish today, and you go the entire 60 minutes all about productivity, that's kind of the leadership of the past, because you will be productive in that you can accomplish whatever you wanted, but it's not going to be for some people in the meeting are like, I don't want to be I'm going to spend so many hours at work. I don't want to live the rest of my life just kind of like a wrapped in this thing, working, productivity. I have a life to live. And if I have to work so many hours, I need to, part of the hours that I work also have to be that the folks that I work with are also my friends that I can enjoy, have conversations about life. I want to go to the game and watch the game and see who's batting and who hits a home run, and it cannot all be about work. But I really understand that there is a component of a cultural and generational component. And just my last comment, I found it that it was interesting, Tamara, that you said like, we shouldn't have fun, but we should enjoy our job. So I think culturally for some folks, enjoying means to have fun. So it's like, while you're enjoying something, you're having fun. But Tamara, you want to share some thoughts? I know we've been talking, and want to give you the opportunity to share.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to say, but I totally agree. I've just seen in the chat that email, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but
yeah,
yes, absolutely. There's a lot of way to have fun at work and to enjoy, and fun and enjoyment connected us to each other. And that's why it's important to have this kind of moment all together. If we can, because then it depends on personality, on culture, on so many factors. And some of the people won't be able to, or don't want to have fun, or don't want to share that kind of thing. And that's also okay. And it's
exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we have to have fun, we have to laugh. Maybe some of them don't want that, and that's
absolutely.
also fine. We have to respect that too.
So from an inclusion standpoint, right, is that we have to be inclusive in that if someone is like, hey, for me, work, I can have fun after work. I don't want to be having fun at work. We need to accommodate for that. And, ultimately, it's important for all of us. I go back to your point, Dan. I thought that was a very strong point in that we are responsible for our life, our happiness. And so we have to take time to think about the personality of a place, of a workplace that we are in. For example, if I don't like stress, and I work work at a hospital, for example, where the emergency, if I work in the emergency room, right, and I don't like stress, then I have to think very seriously about if I am in the right place to work, because it is the workplace is not going to change for you. An emergency room will always be stressful. So then, you have to think of working somewhere else. So for example, if you like to have fun, and you want to work in an emergency room, that probably is not the place to have fun, because you're not going to be having fun in an emergency room. People don't want you to be having fun in an emergency room in a hospital. But if you don't want to have fun and you are working in a place that is, at Google, you're not going to be able to tell Google, hey, stop being fun because I don't want to have fun. What will happen is that eventually in time, and at Lego, for example, you can tell Lego, yeah, stop having fun because I don't want to have fun. Is you will notice that there is a point in your career where you're going to need to think about, well, is this the right place for me to be in? And then find another place where, you can work. That's kind of be because it's not sustainable to work at a place where everybody else wants something and you want something else. You won't be able to change the organization for you. And it's your responsibility. Thank you, Dana, for that thought.
I think, Luis, that's the point where I think the social intelligence part need to come in. Right, how we really understand, as Dana said, it's how do I understand and what do I need, and at the same time, how did Tamara said, we need to understand other people also, whether they like to have it or no. So it's really to bring that social awareness, that how another person, what does Tamara like, whether she like to have fun or no, what does Dana like to have. So I need to know that also, because we talked about inclusivity, right? So we were in a breakout room. I think Nagis was talking about her business area, diversity, inclusion, and I put the equity part also. So it's about the awareness, how much of awareness I have around the people who I have. So that's so important as well, just to keep on that particular line.
And I think that just a point on that, I think, Dana, you probably have something to say about that as a leader too, is understanding who's in your team, right? So who are the people in my team? How are they like? What do they enjoy? So from a retention standpoint, as a leader, I have a responsibility with retention, because maybe I am amazing with ROI and I can bring a spectacular financial results. But if the people in my team are continuously turning out, they are leaving my team all the time and nobody wants to be in my team, it's probably because, the culture that I am creating may not be fitting what people want. So I know people, this is a controversial topic, because I run into people that tell me that they disagree. But the way I see it, at least, and what I can offer, in my classes, is that I believe that it is in your responsibility as a leader to take the time to think about what is the culture that you have with your team, to ask them, how are you feeling in the team? What are, what are the barriers? Are you enjoying your job? Is there anything that is getting in the way? Am I getting in the way as a leader? What things as a leader am I doing that are a barrier to you? First is accomplishing what you have to do in your responsibilities of your job. But then second, am I doing something that is basically stopping you from, being happy at work, right? Because we could, as a leader, be the one that is actually, in fact, statistically, there is research that says that one of the highest sources of dissatisfaction for people in the workplace is their bosses.
Yeah, and why they are quitting nowadays is because of the management or leadership. I totally agree with what you're saying.
We have hold on, I'm gonna have to.
We have a thing here.
I'm going to mute all. All right.
Oh, everybody. Everybody.
All right.
No, it's okay.
I think we're no longer. Okay, go ahead, Deb.
Yeah, well, I think that it requires from you to be humble, to understand that everybody's different, okay? And leaders, that you were talking about leaders, and the best leaders are the ones that understand that they don't have any power on you. We don't have any power on anybody, not even your friends, your partner, your children. No, we have different roles, but we don't have the power to say you should be doing this or that. So when you understand that, you get that, no, I'm not the person to tell you that you should be having fun, you should be doing this or that, or if you are in this stage of your life, you should be. No, we are in different roles. Maybe now I'm the leader and you are part of my team, but we are in the same level. Our roles are different, but I don't have any power on you. You have to evolve at your pace, and you have to live your life. So when you see it as a leader in this perspective, it's very, very good and very powerful, because everybody are the same. Like, we don't have levels of people just because you are the leader, right?
I love that perspective, Dana, and I think that the humility and being humble is important. I've noticed now,
Yeah.
that folks that were interns, some time ago are now, leading organizations. So we also have to put that into perspective that, a great point that you're saying right now, only because somebody is reporting to you right now doesn't mean that that person like is inferior to you in any way, but that person could end up being your boss. I worked at a company where they would do that, and they would switch, where somebody that was reporting to you could end up reporting to someone that was reporting to you. So, which was an exercise of humility, right? Imagine, and some people had to resign because they couldn't take it. But I think it's understanding that, I love that whole thought of like, all I can do is just share thoughts and perspective and resources for ideas, and that you can take or leave. But we as leaders cannot impose them, so going back to, I cannot force you to have fun. I have to actually work with you to provide to you the environment that is the best and most conducive to you being engaged in your job, to do the job that you have to do, and provide you the resources and the training and the guidance. I was in my work, I collaborate with some agencies of law enforcement, and there was something that I really liked, that in the evolution of leadership, in the leadership of the past, was like, don't come to me with problems, come to me with solutions. Right? It's like, don't come and share with me your problem, tell me your solution. But there is actually an evolution on that, in that you actually now, as a leader, you cannot tell the people not to come to you until they have a solution, because some problems take a long time to solve. Some problems are very complex and cannot be solved, and the employee, just by identifying the problem and coming to you and saying, I have identified that here is a problem, something is happening, we need to change the framework to start valuing that, kind of accepting and embracing the value of the employee identifying the problem, even when they don't have a solution. Because if you wait for the solution, it can be too late. For example, in law enforcement, so think of terrorism. If one of your agents already identified that there's something going on, they may not have all of the evidence, they don't have all of the details, they don't have all the information, but just with something that they're telling you, just something that came in, you can engage, other agencies and other partners, and bring in, additional expertise, and you can solve the case before. If you wait to solve a problem, a building can be blown up or something horrible can happen. So in this case, as leaders, let's engage, and let's work with our teams, and back to your point, Dana, let's let them be whoever they want to be, and then we have a responsibility ultimately. I mean, that's a beautiful thought, is that I'm not going to wait for my leader to tell me whether I can be happy or not be happy, or should be having fun. That's my personal decision. And as I live my life, how do I want to live my life? And if I want to have fun, and the organization where I work is not an organization, it's not going to have fun, it's going to be hard to change an organization to be fun if they are not. So maybe the better route is to find what is that organization that provides the environment. And that's why when you're interviewing for a job, don't focus on the job. Also take a look at what's the personality of the workplace. Is that a personality that matches yours, right? So other thoughts?
Well, maybe if no, Tamara, go ahead.
Go ahead, Tamara.
Just to reframe what you've said, because I think it's very important what you said, Dana, before about power. It's all, sure, you should take and not give the power to anyone on you. And that's something that I can see in intern, I mean, junior position, that we have the impression we can't really take our place. And we give too much power on the other. And that's also something that we do. I mean, basically, when we begin to work, we have this feeling that we don't have the credibility or the legitimacy to say something and to speak up. But it's also so hard to do it. I can see that in my workplace. It's really hard to speak up for yourself. But it's also a change of mind and a question of self-awareness and to be self-confident. And it's not so easy.
Absolutely.
But I think
nobody is going to do it for you.
Exactly, but it's your responsibility to take your place and not to give too much power on others, because as you say, they won't, I mean, it's not that they won't do anything for you, but they won't be able to control you, and that's not something that you want at the end of the day. But it's
and maybe they don't want it either.
No,
maybe they don't want it either. So it's a very good point, Tamara.
Yeah, but I think, it's a question of to whom I'm giving power, why, and why do I need that? And it's also, then you can just say, you can blame the others and not take your responsibility. And that's a question of self-awareness to me. Not only. But
absolutely. Absolutely. It's like sometimes you have a second benefit from giving power to others. No?
Absolutely.
And to blame others, right?
Yeah. And then you can say, oh, it's not my fault. I'm just like that. And But
and you can see that in small things. Even when you write a mail and you copy the boss of the person, so you can say, well, it wasn't me. I told you I wrote a mail. Yeah, you wrote a mail, so what? A mail. So you are absolutely right.
Great point. Okay, so I'm going to open it up to the floor, and I'm loving this discussion in terms of like your responsibility and what power do you give to others, what power do you give to your leaders, and what power do the leaders have on you, right? Your responsibility to be engaged, to be happy, to, you know. Also, I've read also, and I've anecdotally from some discussions, like if you are having, you know, challenges personally, you know, health, mental health, or anything that is going on, whose responsibility is that? Is that the company's responsibility, or is that your responsibility to take care of yourself and make sure, you know, the organization may provide support to you, but ultimately we are responsible for our, you know, to have the right condition to be able to perform in the jobs that we've been given. I love to open, you know, we're in the last 10 minutes here of our call today. I want to thanks to everyone that has been engaged and for the comments on the chat. Thoughts from anyone on the floor? What do you guys think? Agree, disagree, like it, don't like it? What do you guys think? Any personal experience? I think Robes, I don't know if I'm saying your name right, so I apologize. But you've had some great comments on the chat. Would you like to, are you camera ready to come in and join us? If you want to share some thoughts.
Sorry guys, but using a computer or company computer, which the camera is restricted. Okay. So yeah, just what I said in the chat. Yeah, there's a lot nowadays. It's so easy to find ways of how to have fun at work. That's the only thing. I think if I'm not mistaken, I have read it in the Snack Nation website. Yeah, there's from celebrating the what do you call this one, the birthdays and milestones of employees, and just a simple eat anywhere during lunch. You know, it's so nice to have a long conversation with your colleagues without having this the strict choice of words, you know. So yeah, for me, it's not only about drinks on Fridays or watching footballs. There's a lot of ways of having fun at work.
Thank you. Great point. And actually something as simple as celebrating somebody's birthday, right? So I work at a company where there are people from all over, there are people from different parts of the world. And when someone's birthday, back before COVID, when we were all kind of working presently in person at the office, when someone had a birthday, they would sing happy birthday in the various happy birthday song from the various countries. And it was, people really enjoyed it. And it was kind of, you imagine for the birthday person, what a special thing that people from different countries will sing happy birthday to you in their language, in the song. It's not the same happy birthday song in every country. So that is an example of something that is very simple. It takes 5 minutes, and yet, it can really change the day for that person. When that was done to me, I will always remember it even though that happened many years ago. Okay, good. So we're just in the last 5 minutes of our call today. First, obviously, I want to thank everyone for making the time to join us. This has been recorded. I'm going to post it on YouTube if you guys want to come back and watch it again. A lot of the folks that register for this session end up watching it on YouTube on demand because they're busy on the job. But I love to give these last 5 minutes. First is if anyone from the call would like to, any of the participants would like to say something, we can bring you up and you can share your thoughts, and then we'll move into each one of the four of the three panelists to have kind of like your closing words of wisdom to send everybody off with a message here of what today on a Friday, some of us are in the morning, some afternoon, some in the evening. How do we send everybody off here with a message, from our human fields? What's your closing message? But before we do that, anybody has any thoughts or comments that you would like to share before we do our closing wrap-up round? Okay, Nadesh, go ahead.
Thank you. I wasn't sure if you'd seen I raised my hand. Yeah, to me, I think there are two important points that I've taken away from this conversation. And one is that whatever you're talking about, so we were talking, about bringing our old self, fun, not fun, and all that kind of things. But to me, one point is that it's a two-way responsibility. So it's true that there are some responsibility on the employers, on the organization to provide, but it's also our own responsibility to what we want to bring. And so it's not just what will you give me, but it's also what will I contribute. So that to me was one big point. And the second big point is that, it's up to each of us to decide in a way. We're all at a different stage. We all want something different. There will never be one solution fits all, whatever in terms of culture in an organization. And I think that's what inclusion is about, is really to understand what everybody is about, what they expect, what they want, what they need, and to answer that, and not just to provide one thing and expect people to fit in. So exactly. That would be my takeaways.
Thank you, Nadesh. Great points. I love it. Absolutely. It is our responsibility. And then, it's like everyone, we have to, an inclusive place is a place that can be something, can provide different things to different people, because, we have to bring people that are different, and the workplace have to accommodate for people that are different. And some want to have fun, some don't want to have fun, some want to, but it's all kind of how do we make things so that everyone can be engaged and do the jobs that they need to do. All right, so let's go ahead and do our closing, wrap up round. So we'll start with you, Dana. Why don't you send us off with a message for the weekend, and then we'll go into Tamara, Azeem, and then we'll close it up, and that'll be the end of the call. So with that, Dana, take it away.
Well, for me, listening to you is gives me a big conclusion, and that it takes like you should want to have fun. If the only way that you can have fun is wanting to, and we are responsible for that. And that's the most important thing that I can see in this session.
That it is your responsibility, exactly. And
It's our
so
responsibility.
kind of back to the discussion is having fun means different things to different people. So like
To
whatever it
different people.
means to have fun, you are responsible to finding ways to, you know, get to that, right? So good. Thank you, Dana. Thank you for your thoughts and for your time today. Great insights. I learned a lot
Oh,
from your
please.
comments. And Tamara?
Yes, well, for me, first of all, thanks, because I think that's what we need to have that kind of conversation, to be able to communicate, to talk, to understand, to see, yeah, all the different aspects that we can have on just one word. And we basically just, not only, but we talk mainly on fun and enjoyment. And we are all different, we're all different kind of perspective. And then it's a question for me of communication, debating, and respect. And thanks really for that, because I think that's something we lack in our workplace, in our society, is to talk, it's communication. So thanks a lot for that.
And that's why the work of, I know people in the call, including Adish, spend time in the cross-cultural, you know, leadership training. It's important because actually I noticed that interesting that, you know, you had like Alejandro, who's in Europe, Tamara, you're in Europe, and Adish are in Europe, kind of you guys were on a similar thinking that, you know, folks there in Europe, it's more like focused on your job. And so where it may be misleading when you talk about like having fun. Some folks in some areas of Europe kind of may take that into, well, are you know, you're going to be distracted or that. So there's a cultural component there, whereas in Latin America, you know, if a successful leader in Europe that is very serious and strict and focused about the job is sent to lead a team in Latin America, that may be, you know, a risk for failure, because in Latin America, you got to be engaged, you got to be fun, you got to be charismatic, you know, right, to be able to lead a team, because people want to like you before they'll kind of follow your lead. All right, Azeem, your closing remarks for today.
All right. So first and foremost, Luis, thank you very much for having me on this board to discuss this. And I never thought we'd talk more about fun, you know. it was really interesting. We were talking, you were like, you know, when we had this pre-recording and conversation, we were thinking, well, you know, where we're going to head it. I said, it's really interesting. And then I totally agree with Luis. And that's why I really loved it, right? We I think 3 of us or 4 of us from the different continent. Our cultures are different. Our perspectives are different. But it gives a 360-degree view how we look at things, right? So one of 3 or 4 things I really picked up is the self-awareness part, which I really connected to that, right? It's our responsibility to take certain you know, initiatives to know myself. What do I like? What do I don't like? How do I connect with my likes? And how do I have fun, right? At the same time, the social awareness part. How does Dana will like to connect? What does she want? What is her version of fun? What is Tamara's version of fun? What is Luis' version of fun? So I need to know, because if I want to be a leader, if I want to, you know, take a pack of my followers to an end objective, we all need this. It can be a father, it can be a mother, it can be in a, you know, workplace, it can be a community, society, it can be anywhere. So these 2 components really vital, Luis, for us to really drive our lifestyle. And engagement is another word I'm going to pick it up with Alejandro, because today the whole world is talking about engagement. I think diversity, inclusion, and equity is always connected to engagement. How do we connect, engage those people to end objective? I think this is a fantastic you know, conversation. Luis, once again, thank you very much. I believe I and Dana and Tama would have done the justice for your expectation. And then thank you very much once again for having us. A wonderful conversation.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So we are at the top of at the end of a session. So I want to thank, you know, all of you, Dana, Tamara, Azeem. I'm a fan of you. I follow your work. That's why I wanted you to be in today, and I wasn't wrong. This was a fantastic conversation. I learned a lot from a lot of your thoughts in there in terms of our role as leaders and our role as contributors, you know, right, that we take responsibility. And I would love to, for everyone in the call, if there was a material that you like and you would like to connect with the presenters, please send them a LinkedIn invite. You know, all of the folks here on the call provide also coaching, and, you know, are engaged in, you know, so like if you want a presenter, a speaker for your organization, or if you would like to, you know, even, you know, connect with those folks for projects that you have in mind, go ahead and connect with them. And so same with me. I'm on, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you use for social media, and happy to connect. So thank you very much. Have a great rest of the day. Those of you that are in Asia, good night.
Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
looking
Thanks
forward
a
to
lot.
staying in touch. A
Good
pleasure.
night.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.